Hi Pete, so we'll run through the first swing is on the left hand side, and then we've got the swing at the end of the lesson on the right hand side. So I'm just going to run through these briefly first of all, just so you can see how different these two are. Okay, and I'm going to stop you in a position when the shaft is parallel to the ground on both swings, okay, which is pretty much as near as damn it in that position there, okay. And then I'm just going to mark sort of where the club head is versus obviously where it is now. So on the left hand side here, the TrackMan data, you were getting upwards of 15 degrees left with the path on the majority of them, obviously just because it's so, effectively the club is travelling so far across the ball, or the swing direction is so far to the left. Trying to get the sweet spot or the middle of the club on the ball, it's just pretty much impossible from where you are. You can see majority of these shots are just going to go along the ground. So by all means, it's not the finished product on the right hand side. There's still some things that you would need to change, but if we just run briefly through what we've done, but really the sort of main point of the lesson is think where this circle is, which was the start of the lesson, versus where the club head is now. Okay, so general rule of thumb, the club's it's got to swing behind this line, or at least very, very close to it. Once you get into positions out here somewhere, pretty much game over, being totally honest with you. So it's quite interesting as you take the club back here. It's not a bad position, and the club head actually gets, you could maybe call this closed in relation to the arc, which certainly wouldn't promote a slice. But where it starts to go wrong for me really is once you get it sort of here now, the right arm really starts to fold. Also the left arm again excessively bends, and then the arms then just start to lift in front of you. So at the top of the swing here, there's no sort of depth to the left arm. The majority of players you'll see behind the line here. It's still not the end of the world. You could still recover from there. So someone like a Jim Furyk would have a very high lead arm, but obviously would work the club or the whole hands and unit back behind this line on the way down. So just keeping it simple, what we've done on this side now is put you in a position where the feeling is, for you, the right arm is feeling much straighter. You're getting a level of depth behind the, with the hands behind this line. Just again briefly from address, we've flared the feet out quite a bit just to allow you to try and create that initial hip turn, chest rotation. You do lose the pivot a tiny bit here, so your hips start to flatten out, and the shoulders start to flatten out a little bit. But again, this is stuff that we can work with. But if we go from the swing on the left versus the swing on the right, in terms of starting the downswing now, here you've got a chance. Here it is a lot harder to get that club in a desirable position. So really the main sort of structure of the lesson is getting you to a point where this is the top of your swing. Yes, ideally we'll work a little bit more on getting the tilt back in next time, but you can actually, if I go lead arm parallel to the ground versus lead arm parallel to the ground here, you can see the fundamental differences with the club head. Again, the club face is pretty neutral here. The one on the left, it's all again starting to open to try and facilitate that. Wrist angles get thrown out, just in an effort to try and get the face back onto the ball really. But as you can see, it's travelling so far away from the ball, let's say, it's just really impossible to get any form of strike. And you mentioned things about where your hands were, how far away they were from your body. Again, you can see you don't really need to think about this too much on the downswing or in this position, because you've effectively sorted that problem from being in the correct position at the top. So from here now you were creating a path that was rightward. but I think really just watching the video, over and over a couple of times. Obviously, we gave you the drill with this smash bag in the background here. I won't kind of go over that because you understand it and you can do that in your own time. But you can see visually, I mean, that was a half-hour lesson. To go from the one on the left to the one on the right in half an hour is a massive transformation, and to hit some decent shots with it as well out the middle of the club face obviously felt great. Gets you sort of back to where you need to be. But yeah, absolutely fantastic, and hopefully that makes sense.